everybody and welcome back. As you saw from the title, today we're going to be making a classic dish, Baked Ziti. Now let's get into it. Okay, to start our ziti, obviously we need noodles. So what we're going to do is get a 16-ounce box of noodles and some boiling water. And now we can move on to preparing our meat. Okay, so we're going to actually take a little bit of a twist today, and instead of using ground beef, we're going to be using ground turkey. I know some people say they don't like the taste of ground turkey. It's a bit dry, but that's not exactly true if you know how to prepare it. You really have to season it. Ground turkey, like ground chicken, is a meat that requires a lot of seasoning in order to make it taste good. And being that you're going to be adding sauce and cheese to make the ziti, it's going to be just fine. So we're going to start off with some salt, pepper, some parsley flakes, some onion powder, garlic powder, and some paprika. And for this, I've used a half a teaspoon of each salt, onion powder, and garlic powder, and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper and paprika, just a little dash of some parsley. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mix this up lightly. You don't really need to get in there too much because it breaks apart pretty easily. And we're just going to get it right in our pan. Alright, so let's move on over to our pan. So here we have a pan of about a teaspoon of olive oil. Actually, it's more like a teaspoon and a half to a tablespoon of olive oil. It's already hot, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this meat directly in the pan. And what we're going to do is just break it apart as it cooks a little bit, but let's let this start to brown a little bit and get cooked on one side before we go ahead and start messing with it too much and try to turn it. Okay, so our brown turkey has now been cooking for about 5 minutes on one side, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn these over. See, it has a little nice brown crust on there. And you want to cook this on about medium to high, but not high and not, super low. So at this point, I'm going to add about a half a cup of some cut up onions, peppers, and a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm just going to add that. I want your sauce to be nice and flavorful. So now we're going to let this cook for about another 4 minutes on this side before we move on to our next steps of our sauce. Okay, so our ground turkey is now completely finished cooking. So what we're going to do now is add our favorite pasta sauce. As you can see, I'm using this ragu garden sauce. You can take any one that you like. Any pasta sauce will do. I like the garden vegetable sauce. It has additional vegetables in it like peppers, onions, chunky tomatoes. So I'm just going to stir that in. Alright, so I'm just going to bring this to a simmer. The meat is already cooked, so I'm going to be using the whole jar. Okay, so we're just going to let this simmer, and once this is finished simmering, pretty much like a minute, just to warm up the sauce, then we're going to go ahead and start incorporating this in our rinsed pasta. We're already done drained and rinsed the pasta, so that's ready to go. Alright, so this is looking good here. So what we're going to do is start preparing this to go into our pasta. Okay, our sauce has been simmering for a minute. So at this point, what we're going to do is incorporate it into the pasta. So I just want to shift this pot over here. So let's shift this and let's bring our pasta over here. And I'm going to basically pour all of this meat sauce directly into our pasta. I think I need a pot holder. Move this one for a second. Alright, so here we go. We're going to pour all of our meat sauce directly into the pasta pan pot. Alrighty. Okay, so now that we have this incorporated, let's give it a stir. At this point, what I'm going to do is add some ricotta cheese. Some people just add like dollops in the pan, but I'm not going to do it that way because I don't want the cheese all lumped up. I'm just going to add it directly in there and mix it up. So let's see, we're going to take about a couple of tablespoons. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 tablespoons. So let me just mix that in. And for me, that is enough. So I'm going to add about, so that is what I'm leaving it at, the 4 tablespoons of ricotta. Add more or less, feel free. This is your dish. You're making it to your liking. But I'm sticking with 4. And our oven is preheated to 375 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is add some mozzarella cheese. But I think I want to add some directly in here, as well as layering. So let's go ahead and add some mozzarella. So I have an 8-ounce bag and I'm going to be using the whole bag. So I'm going to add about half here. Let's mix it in. Alright, so at this point, I'm ready to get this directly into our baking dish. Okay, so here we have the baking dish. I'm just going to drizzle about a half a tablespoon of some olive oil on the bottom and mix it with our measuring spoon. And then we're going to pour the pasta directly into the Pyrex dish. So here we go. Let me move my hand out of the way, actually. So I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm trying to see. This should all fit in this size baking dish. Yep, it's gonna fit. Alrighty, so now that we have all the pasta in the Pyrex dish, what we're going to do now is add some additional mozzarella to the top. Try to level this off a little bit. Okay. So now let's get the remainder of our mozzarella. Actually, let's see if we're gonna use it all. I think so. And I'm using an 8-ounce bag of mozzarella cheese. Oops. So we're just gonna cover the top with the cheese. Okay, and now we're gonna get this in a 350 to 375 degree oven, depending on your oven, and bake it until the cheese is nice and melted and it's all browned on top. Okay, everybody, so here is our finished product, our ziti baked in the oven on 375 for 35 minutes. I just sprinkled a little dash of some parsley on top, and this is actually ready for us to enjoy. Once it cools down, of course, it is piping hot. Now, that was my take on making a baked ziti. I just wanted to point out that I chose to use ground turkey. You can also use the traditional ground beef and sausage or any other type of meat that you want to use. I just wanted to showcase that ground turkey isn't as bad as sometimes people make it out to be. Also note, you can also make a veggie style ziti. Same thing with how you do a veggie lasagna. You can use some broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and spinach, of course, is always a good choice. And make it a veggie baked ziti. Okay, those are just some other options. And hopefully you enjoyed this video and will give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and I will see you again on the next one. Thanks for watching.